confuse your team by saying, hey, I'm struggling here and I'm struggling on the other end. You have to choose. I'm going to take responsibility for one set of corners, and then I'm going to focus with the team on the other set. And logically, you want to be best on turns 3 and 4 because that's the one that brings you back to the checkered flag.
Ricky, take us for a lap now. Kevin Harvick is going to take the 33 car on this Gateway. Here he goes into turn 1.
Yeah, heavy braking, more like a short track. And you have to have the discipline to maintain the bottom, go back to the gas as quickly as possible, like a short track, let it drift to the wall. Down here at the other end, 3 and 4, you have a few more options, and this is why you can tune to the car. You can give some good feedback and say, I need this or I need that. They can make adjustments that really show up, but you can carry more speed into the corner, sort of diamond the track by drifting up, letting the car rotate, and then it's all about speed on the exit. We focus that at Pocono, right, Rusty? The last turn at Pocono is the most critical, and we focus the same here at Gateway. Turn 4, it's all about carrying speed from the middle of 3 and 4 off to the start-finish line.
And, buddy, I totally agree with you also. I mean, that's a great explanation.
You sold me. I get it. I understand. And the B word that he used going down into turn number 1 is important here, brakes. You got to have them, and they're definitely going to be a big factor tonight. Tim Brewer filed this report for us from the Craftsman Tech Garage.
Tonight, as the sun goes down in St. Louis, you're going to see something happening to the front wheels of the car. These brake rotors right here, they're going to start glowing bright red. The crew chief, he's going to be hollering to the driver, cut these bead blowers on right here. Conducting airflow in this area contains that air pressure buildup. The air pressure, when a heat transfers from the rotor to the tire itself, it makes the car think it's got stiffer front springs in, not enabling the car to turn through the center of the corner. So if you can control the air pressure buildup using the airflow right here, you might have an opportunity to win a race here in St. Louis.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer. That explains even more about what it takes to get around Gateway International Raceway. Got a championship going on. Carl Edwards picked up 50 points last week. Can he continue to do it and chase down Brad Keselowski, the current points leader, 227 ahead, but he's got someone pursuing him. We'll talk about them when we come back.
IndyCar Series, open wheel racing in a great downtown setting. Exhibition Place, Toronto. A fast and demanding course with exciting passing areas. Dario Franchitti defends his title, and all the contenders are coming to race. Names like Helio Castroneves, Scott Dixon, Will Power, Alex Tagliani, Danica Patrick, and Paul Tracy. Honda Indy Toronto, tomorrow at 12:30 on TSN2.
Back at the Gateway International Raceway, the excitement is starting to build as we get closer to green flag action. Drivers milling around. They've just been introduced, many of them on the back of the pickup trucks as they drive around waving to the fans. Many who have come out here to bear the 90+ degree temperatures. It is getting a little bit cooler though as the sun starts to drop. Look at Jason Leffler there. And let's take a quick look at the point standings now. We're just about a little bit past the halfway point in the season, and here's how the championship race is stacking up. Although Brad Keselowski slipped a little bit last week, running out of fuel in Chicago, he still sits atop the championship standings with a healthy 227-point lead. The man trying to close the gap is Carl Edwards. Edwards was able to slice 50 points off his deficit last week, but will need to continue that charge to capture the title. Does tonight mark another opportunity for Edwards? Let's check in with Shannon, who's with him.
Well, this is the 3rd season that Carl Edwards is hunting down that championship leader, trying to gain position on Brad Keselowski this year. What do you need to do differently this year that you haven't done the past 2 years that can make you successful doing that?
It's tough. It's a really good question, though. Our team, our Copart Fastenal team, has done a really good job of being consistent this year. We just haven't been very fast. We haven't won a bunch of races. So what we've got to do is take that win at Road America, capitalize on that momentum, and it'd be nice to win here tonight, but we just got to go win races, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of races left, and I think we can catch Brad if he just has a little misfortune. But proud to be driving the Aflac Future tonight. It's really cool of them to be on board, and the hometown crowd. This is one of the most fun races of the year for me.
The last 2 seasons, you've had very strong second halves, lots of wins. How does this team stack up to the teams of the past?
That's a good question too. I think we're better. I believe we're better. I believe there are some things we need to work on to make our car just a little bit faster, but I wouldn't trade my guys for any of them. Not the guys at the shop and the engine department or my guys here on pit road. I think we've got the best team we've ever had, so we just have to go do it.
Carl Edwards rode his bike here to Gateway for this race this evening, looking to drive his car to victory lane.
Thanks, Shannon. Brad Keselowski, the points leader. And Brad, last weekend, the final few laps at Chicagoland, how much this week have you done the woulda, shoulda, coulda line and thought about what happened those final laps, including the pit stop?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. It's just the way it goes sometimes. You catch good breaks and bad breaks, and I've caught some really good breaks this year, and I just had a bad one. So that's the way it goes, and we'll just keep working on it moving forward. We still are competitive. That's the most important thing, and I'm happy being competitive and know at the end of the day, when we all execute, we can win, and that was just one of those weekend flaws.
Still have a 227-point lead. Are you at the point now where you can take a deep breath and sort of relax a little bit, or do you still have to think about the big picture?
Well, I don't think it's really my personality to relax, or this team's personality to relax. We need to keep pushing and moving forward. You know, as we've been talking before, that Carl can get hot at any time. He's, you know, that good of a driver and a great team over there. So I don't really feel comfortable with 200-some points, and we want to go out there and we still want to keep winning. So we think we've got discount tire Dodges that can do that, and you know, this might be our week, so we're going to fight hard.
Have a good one tonight.
Thank you.
Dave Burns?
If you take a look at the last two summer charges that Carl has had, both have fallen short after his 2007 championship. 2008 a bit better, only fell 56 points to Boyer. Last year a big 215 behind Kyle. But Ricky, as we look at that, Kyle talked about consistency they have, speed they need, and they need the 22 to have a little bad luck. You know, how does he get all those and make that charge toward the end of the year?
Well, law of averages says the 22 is going to have some bad luck. They've been outstanding this year, but I like Carl Edwards' chances. The fact is he has the advantage of being a former champion, and he's lost one of these things before, and there is an advantage to having lost one. I talked to his crew chief, Drew Blickensderfer, and he said, Ricky, we're not going to show the urgency that we showed in 2008, where we had a full court press, and as a result, we made mistakes. We're going to be more calculated. We're going to look at this as though we've got the experience and we've won races, and we're just going to do what we know how to do.
Rusty, Brad talked about the fact that it's not in his nature to relax. So can he race that way toward the end of the season and hold Carl off?
I don't think he needs to change at all what he's been doing. That's got him where he is right now. Anytime a driver said, I'm going to change the way I'm driving, I'm going to drive easier, I'm going to drive harder, that just leads to mistakes. And so I don't agree with him changing anything, and I don't expect him to change anything. I think that's what he actually meant. Earlier in the year, he said, hey, after Daytona, I might change my driving style. I think at that point, he was worried about the new car, what might happen at Daytona. But I think we're back to normal with his mindset right now.
And I think the fans like that driving style, too. Keeps it exciting. Last week, as Doc and Brad talked about, he didn't have enough fuel to finish the race. Crew Chief Paul Wolf told me that he thought he did, but at the end of the race at Chicagoland, it didn't work out that way for the driver of the 22 car as they came to the final green-white checkered restart. Brad Keselowski drops out of the high line and down to the bottom of the field, almost clipping David Rudiman. You notice on the high side, Kyle Busch and the whole outside line slide up, putting Kyle right next to Joey Logano in the second starting position instead of the fourth starting position. Ricky Craven, you've driven in NASCAR series before, so did that surprise you at all, and should NASCAR have done anything different than what they did?
No, that did not surprise me. That's exactly what I expected. I know the rule. If I were in one of those cars, I would have slid up because I had done it before over and over again. And if we were sitting here to debate it, you know what, it's too disruptive to do it any other way. You know, to get 43 cars to realign, it would take 15 minutes, and it would be no fun.
So, Rusty, basically that was the way it was, and everybody should just live with that, right?
Well, that's been the rule forever and ever. I mean, nothing's changed at all, Dave. Anytime you have a problem in front of you, the car behind you moves straight up. Folks, if you watch the start of a race, if a guy's got to change an engine or has a problem, they put him tail back. They just move that line straight up. That's been the rule forever. Nothing's changed, although I can understand how it might be a little confusing to a new fan.
Well, and you know what? It was Kyle's time. He doesn't always get the breaks, but that was a huge break for Kyle last week at Chicagoland. Mike, I believe you've caught up with Jason Leffler.
I have indeed, and certainly one of the emerging stories this week is that of Jason Leffler. It appears things are on the upswing. You guys have been inside the top 10 over the last several weeks. It seems like the performance has improved. What's been the difference?
Well, just having a little consistency with the crew. You know, we got Eddie Pardue that came on board here, and just having a leader there and get everybody in the right direction. Guys have been working their butts off at Braun, and everybody on the Great Clips. Camry's been doing a great job. Our car is not as good as I would like here, but, you know, the race, when you get in the race, things change, and looking forward to it.
You say it's not as good as you would like here. What would you like to see it be better at?
Well, it just needs to turn a little better. I mean, the front end it's not working the way you want it, so then you unhook the back to try to get it to turn. So we're just sliding around, but all in all, we'll make the most of it tonight, and we'll go on to ORP